Welcome to Sex Education 101 with Jess, Mary and Katie.
Today's question of the week is, how do teachers deal with parents who don't want their children learning about sex education?
Firstly, what is sex education? What does it involve? Many people are led to believe that sex education is limited to reproduction. However, this is a major misconception.
Other areas included are, but not limited to, reproduction, how the body works, puberty, body parts, personal identity, sexual identity, relationships, decision-making, risk-taking, peer pressure, family diversity, beliefs or religious views, accessing community resources, so helplines, personal networks, and health professionals, critical thinking, analysing or interpreting sexualisation in the media, and forming attitudes.
Within the health and physical education learning area, the Australian curriculum provides a list of content descriptions, varying for every year level. We have highlighted the content descriptions related to sexual education in the tables shown. Foundation or prep age children should learn about the parts of the body. Years 1 and 2 are recommended to learn about personal strengths and weaknesses, diversity within people and their families, and begin discussing physical changes. Years 3 and 4 include puberty, personal identity, emotional responses, and the critical analysis of media. Years 5 and 6 discuss puberty more explicitly, community resources such as helplines and medical services, healthy relationships, deeper emotional responses, peer pressure, diversity of relationships, for example same-sex, and beliefs and attitudes. Here is a scenario where a parent does not want their child learning about sex education.
Excuse me, Laura. I'd like to have a word with you about the sex education topic that you'll be starting next term.
What about it?
I'm a bit concerned about the content. I don't believe it's appropriate to be teaching kids in primary school about sex.
Well, they need to learn it. It's part of the curriculum.
Well, I'm not comfortable for Sarah to be engaging in this learning, so I would like her to be removed from the class during this time.
It is part of the curriculum. They need to know this. Every other child in the class is doing it, so Sarah will be too. I will not be sending her anywhere. She's going to participate.
I'd like you now to just take a minute and reflect on this scenario. What did you think about how the teacher handled it? List as many reasons as you can about why this may not have been dealt with correctly by the teacher.
Here are some examples of what we wrote down.
Here is an alternative situation.
Excuse me, Laura. I'd like to have a word with you about the sex ed topic that you'll be starting next term.
Hi Anne, no worries at all. Let me just go and get my planner for the unit and we can discuss it together.
Okay, thank you, Laura. That would be great.
So Anne, what is it that's concerning you?
I'm just not too sure how appropriate it is for primary school aged children to be taught sex ed.
Okay, let's look at the planner. I'll get you to highlight the content you aren't wanting your child exposed to. Okay, so I can see that you're concerned about Sarah learning about puberty and in particular periods. Firstly, I'd just like to mention that the environment in which we conduct these lessons is safe and students can contribute as little or as much as they feel comfortable with.
Sarah doesn't need to know about any of that just yet. I feel as though it is my role and responsibility. I will know when she's ready to learn.
You're right, I agree it is a responsibility of yours. However, I feel as though it is a shared responsibility between parents, teachers and the broader community. Although Sarah may not be experiencing physical changes at the same rate as some of her classmates, she may be potentially experiencing levels of anxiety in regards to the fact she has not yet experienced these changes. By properly educating children on the topic of puberty and the different rates it occurs, we are minimising the feelings or concerns about abnormality and preparing them for the inevitable future.
Those are great points you've raised. However, I still have some concerns, and if I do allow Sarah to participate in this learning, then I would like to be more involved.
Okay, great. I personally believe it's a great decision to allow Sarah to participate in this class. I'll send you all the unit plans and the lesson plans and we'll go from there. Hopefully you can come and participate in the classroom as well.
Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me. I really appreciate it.
As you've just seen, the teacher in this scenario took a different approach to dealing with the situation, which is more likely to produce a desired outcome.
Here is a procedure you can use if you are ever in the situation yourself. The first thing teachers should do is to ensure the parent that they are taking their concern into consideration, then organising a time to have a meeting about it. Within the time between being made aware of the issue and sitting the meeting, the teacher should then make themselves aware of the school policy. This is the philosophy of the school. It is an agreement or a vote by the school council, which consists of parents, based on what they and the community believe students should know. They should have this ready to present and discuss with the parent. During the meeting, these are the steps that need to be taken. First of all, go over the school's policy with the parent. Provide a detailed account or unit plan on what is exactly being taught. Highlight the areas that the parent are concerned with. Discuss how these areas are of benefit to their child's learning and development. The teacher should aim to be as persuasive as possible in this discussion, as the ultimate goal is for the teacher to get the student participating actively in the class, avoiding separation and exclusion from valuable learning. Once you have explained the reasoning behind teaching this particular area of sex education, it is then time to touch base on the parent's current position. If they have decided that they want their child to participate in the learning, firstly ensure them that they have made a great decision. Then offer them the opportunity to email any concerns they may have throughout the duration of the unit. Offer them the unit plan and lesson plans and content, including activities and worksheets for their own personal use. Finally, offer them the chance to sit in on the lessons. If they are still not wanting their child to participate in the learning, parents will need to provide a written consent for wanting their child sent out from the classroom and into another class or area of the school. A discussion will need to be had on what the child actually does during this time. Do the parents want to provide them with their own work? Or, what might they want you as the teacher to prepare for them? Ultimately, the aim for this situation is for students to still be engaging in valuable learning during this time, as opposed to wasted fill-in time where the child is left doing nothing and learning nothing.
Let's talk about why sex education is important. Teaching sex education encourages students to develop a set of personal values based on respecting themselves and others. Students who understand this are able to develop meaningful and respectful relationships. Sex education enables students to learn the correct names of body parts, understand human reproduction, explore family relationships, how to be safe, and develop confidence. These are built upon gradually in line with age and development of a student. Sex education is seen to be of a high value to students as it helps them gain a positive view of sexuality. They are able to communicate clearly to parents and doctors, develop online safety skills, helps with physical and emotional changes with what puberty brings, and is an integral part of each person's identity. There are a few more examples as to why this is important for children, and it will be beneficial for you to take time and read about these positive experiences. Remember, sex education is safer than no sex education at all.
The Department of Education and Early Childhood Development states comprehensive, inclusive sexuality education is a compulsory part of a school's health education curriculum, taught and assessed by teachers. It acknowledges that sexual education is a joint responsibility between parents, child, school and teacher, and community. This therefore means parents do have a right to withdraw their children from the school's program. Each school will have its own policy regarding health and in particular sexual health. The Department of Education has a resource called School Policy as Advisory Guide, which will aid schools and their councils in creating their own policy. It is important for you as a teacher to read the school's policy and follow it when dealing with the curriculum and related concerns.
Thanks for listening to today's podcast on sex education. We hope it has been of use to you.
Tune in next week for...
Do girls have an Adam's apple?